Hi, my name is Phoebe and welcome to the Studio of Good Living, where today on The Art of Dinner we're going to make chicken under a brick, which is exactly what this is a tin foil wrapped brick. Now you may think it sounds a little odd to cook a chicken under a brick, but it really does yield an incredibly moist, tender chicken with really crisp skin. So to start off, I asked my butcher to butterfly the chicken. He took the backbone out and he cut across the keel bone for me so the chicken is flat. Now the first thing we need to do is dry the chicken off, and I'm going to use disposable paper towels for this. I'm going to pick off any excess fat that I see, and if I see any leftover innards, I'm going to take that off too. So oftentimes by the neck of the chicken you'll see some big globules of fat. You want to go ahead and cut or just pull that out, okay? So it should pull out fairly easily. And again, you're not pulling off the skin, you're just pulling off the yellow fat globules. Okay, and once that's been done, you can go ahead and salt the chicken. I would salt it really well. You can do this step ahead of time, okay? You can do it the morning of or the night before. And actually that's my preferred way to do it, but as a working woman, I don't always have the time in the morning or when I come home at night. So that brings us here. And then on the skin side, again, we'll dry it off. I'll straighten out the legs a little bit. Make sure to dry the wings really well. And again, drying the chicken beforehand will just help you yield crispy skin. So, good amount of salt. Turn on the stove. And I'm using a wide bottom pan that has higher sides. And the reason I chose a pan with higher sides is because when the grease splatters, it doesn't splatter quite as much all over the stove. So we're going to put a little bit of olive oil in the pan. And we'll let that heat up. And this is really one of the easiest and tastiest chicken recipes that I know of. So I'm going to take my whole cutting board over so I'm not dripping chicken juices everywhere. I also have some rosemary that I'm going to season the chicken with. And if you have a rosemary bush outside, you're one of the lucky ones, and you can just go outside and pick a branch or two of rosemary at your convenience. So once the oil is warmed and the pan is hot, I'm going to put the chicken skin side down. So we start skin side down. And you'll want to maximize skin content in the pan. The other tip that I have for minimizing oil and grease splatter is to put some parchment paper or wax paper over the chicken. So just make sure that the paper isn't hanging over the side, because it could catch fire if it hangs over the side. And actually, I forgot to put my rosemary in. I'll go ahead and put the rosemary in so that the rosemary will permeate the chicken with its fragrance. And then we take our brick, which weighs probably about 5 pounds. We're going to put the brick right on the chicken. And then we're going to let it go. We can walk away from the stove. Keep an eye on it. Don't walk too far. Our chicken under the brick has been cooking for about 15 minutes. Check it out. Pull the brick off. And you can see the chicken is nice and flat. You can also see how much grease is rendered off and fat is rendered off of the chicken. So let's flip this chicken over. So we'll loosen it on either side. And the leg is just about falling right off. And if you cut into the skin a little bit, you can see that it's still a little bit pink, so it needs to cook for a little bit longer. So, since the chicken is just a lovely golden brown, and we don't want it to get burned on the stovetop, at this point we're going to cover it back with the parchment paper, put the brick back on it, and pop it in the oven for about 10 minutes or so to finish cooking. So, this is going to require all my strength. Just like that. With what's left in the pan, you've got all these lovely golden brown bits in the pan. And all these golden bits, it's called a fond, okay? And that's flavor. And fond is the French word for it. I'm pouring off the grease right now. And then you can deglaze with either white wine or chicken stock. And I've got a cup of chicken stock right here. I'm going to pour the chicken stock in. Turn the stove top back on. Take my spoon. Scrape up the bits from the bottom. The rosemary sprig that got stuck to the bottom of the pan is going to flavor your jus. And this is pretty much all you need to make a very simple and delicious pan sauce. If you wanted to fancy it up a bit, you could thicken it with some cornstarch, but I think it's just delicious just as it is. And then we can pour a little bit of our pan sauce over the chicken. And then the rest you can put in a gravy boat and you can pass at the table. And don't forget to pull the sprig of rosemary out before you serve your gravy, so that's just gonna get tossed. So there you have it, your chicken under a brick, start to finish in 40 minutes. It's great on a weeknight when you come home and you don't know what to make. This goes perfectly well with roasted potatoes, mashed potatoes, steamed rice. You could even just have it with a green salad and maybe some rolls for a really nice light dinner. Make sure to season your sauce before you pass it around the table. And you are good to go. Good enough for family, good enough for company. That's all there is to it. Thanks for joining me today at the studio of Good Living, where life is beautiful by design.